Hi, I'm Kim, and this is my son TC. We're with All Around Trail Horses in Tucson, Arizona. Well, the breeding program, it's got a lot bigger over the years. We found some better mares, you know, and found some better studs, and then when we started doing it, we was just kind of, we started with a Pilgrim, with out of good registered stock. He was a good looking horse, so I bought him and raised him up and finished breaking him and stuff, and then went ahead and bred him with some of the mares that we had bought from the Amish, and then it just kind of escalated from there. And then the boys, TC and Trenton, they thought, well, because they wanted to be cowboys, they thought, if you're going to do this, why don't you get, a cow horse stud, get something with some cow in it. So that's what we done.
And that's where Jag come into the picture.
Yeah, and that's where Jag come into the picture. And then Jag come from a guy in New Mexico. He was like 20 years old when we got him, and they pretty much give up on him and wasn't used. He was a Hancock bred horse. He's the one that put us on the map. Or Jag, because he was
Yeah, all his babies he threw, they were bay roan.
Yeah, he's a Hancock, and everybody thinks Hancocks are bad Broncos and stuff like that, but he wasn't that way, and he didn't throw that to his colts. All of his colts was great. There's not one of them that we raised out of him that was bad at all. It was all gentle, easy going, turned out to be good colts. And then he just got old, I don't know, he lived to what? We had him for 8 years or so.
Yeah, he was 20. He was younger than 20 when we got him. He was 18 when we got him.
Yeah, well, he was up there.
And he was 27 when they put him down.
And then from there, that's when we went and bought the Stevie Ray Vaughan colt, which TC's cutting on him now. We haven't got anything. We've got colts coming up out of him that are going to be pretty nice colts, but nothing going good yet. This
spring we'll have his first crop of colts will be started this spring.
Well, we sat down, all three of us sat down and have a little conversation about what we're going to put on, what stud we're going to put on what mare. And then once we get that figured out, then TC kind of handles it from there.
And we're trying to get it to where we have a actual breeding operation, like we can collect the semen from our studs and AI our mares, because it helps your stock last longer, your horses last longer, because those studs mounting the mares, it kind of breaks them down in the hind end a little bit. And like my dad had mentioned earlier, we bought that Stevie Ray Vaughan stud, and the thing about him is he's kind of small. He's kind of short. A little hard for him to do his job when he can't reach.
So we build him a ramp.
Yeah, Dad built him a deck that he walks up on, and then
we took a 14-hand horse and made him 18 hands tall.
Yeah.
He could get the job done.
So he built this. We have a wash rack that we put the mares in. We'll lead them in head first, and then we put this deck up behind the mares after they're in the wash rack and tied in and whatnot. And then he'll walk up onto the deck and he'll do his job, and then he backs off the mare and walks off the deck.
He didn't back off the first couple times.
Yeah.
It was a learning curve for him. The first couple times he just kind of went off to the side, and then he didn't realize how far it was to the ground, and he just stumbled. Second time he went off the other side and tumbled. And the third time he had it figured out, he was backing off. So he knows what the deck's all about now.
Now when he sees that deck, he thinks he's going to work, even if he doesn't have his right halter on.
But like TC was saying, try to get into the AI and stuff, because the public they like the draft crosses. And then TC won the ranch stake cutting with that little cutting horse this year. So the public is pretty interested in him. So the AI stuff, we're leaning towards that, where we can collect semen and stuff.
Well, the stud still has to do the act in a way. When you collect his semen, he has to mount a dummy, and you collect the semen. But once you get the semen collected, you could actually ship it across the country.
Yeah, you can freeze it and ship it wherever. Big people do it all the time.
So, like, matter of fact, we've got somebody in New York that wants to breed to our Belgian stud because he's kind of a rare type of Belgian. He's got that roan coloring to him. You don't see very many of them that are full Belgian. Our 2 draft studs, they're the old style. They're the farm horse type horses. They're the shorter, blockier type. They're not what everybody sees as a draft horse, but we want them shorter, stockier built studs and mares, draft mares, to kind of keep that idea of our ideal saddle horse. Yeah, so our quarter horse stud, the cutting horse, his registered name is Man Getting Mean. When we bought him as he was just about to turn a yearling. It was days, weeks, I think it was, even before we had a name for him, because we didn't really want to go off of Man Getting Mean and try to come up with something off of that.
Why are you changing his name?
So Man Getting Mean is his registered name, like I said. But most of your registered quarter horses, they'll have a barn name, which is the name you call them on a daily basis. We were in Pagosa, and I was cleaning his pen, and Mom walked up, and we were sitting there talking, and he was like, what are we going to call this horse? What are we going to call this horse? I had my music playing on my phone, and that song, Womanizer, come on. I was just singing along with it, and my mom looked at me and says, there we go, Womanizer it is. And it fits him.
How many times you been married?
We're not going to get into that. But it kind of fits both of our personality, is what they're getting
You
at.
and the horse.
Yes, me and the horse.
But if we'd have thought Man Getting Mean's MGM.
Like the MGM Grand.
Yeah, you could call him MGM, but Womanizer it is.
And Mama liked Womanizer.
Yeah. And on that one, Mom put her foot down. Because I was even okay with changing it. But it does, it fits him.
I do. Yeah. TC here's the oldest, and we have Trenton and Dylan. And TC, he helps us here at the house and at the stables and with the breeding program and stuff. And then the other 2 boys, they're kind of out on their own, but they're still involved with us. They'll come help us shoe in the spring and the fall, and Dylan, he'll help us shoe through the winter some.
My brothers and I were the ones that started most of these colts when we're at home still. Even still today, I'll get one started, and then if we think it's going to be a little bit more special than just a run-of-the-mill trail horse, we'll send them to my little brother Trenton for a while so he can cowboy on them, and we've been a pretty good team as far as that. And then when it comes to their feet, the youngest brother Dylan, he does their feet the best. He's the farrier of the family. I'd have to say even maybe over him a little bit. Dylan's very talented when it comes to shoeing a horse.
Yeah, he's really good at it. And he gets really good about getting around the horse. You know, some people that have a hard time with the horse have to drug him or tie his foot up or whatever, let Dylan have him. Leave him alone, Dylan slips around him.
And quickly.
Yeah, he can get around him pretty fast. And that's what makes a good shoer. Not only getting the shoe on to stay on and making the foot right and stuff, but working with the horse. And Dylan's really good at that. He's special at that. I mean, like this summer, we had 3 of them that we was drugging. And Dylan ended up drawing up on all 3 of them, and we didn't drug one of them. We just slipped right around them.
And these are horses that we've been
drugging them for quite a while.
Years shoeing these horses, and there's not a time I can remember that besides Dylan doing them, everybody else has had to give him a sedation.
He makes the horse feel confident and comfortable.
He doesn't go in thinking, oh, this horse is going to be hard to shoe. He goes in thinking, okay, I'm going to shoe this horse. It's a specialist pretty much when it comes to a horse's foot. They know the ins and outs of the foot, and they have studied the foot and know what keeps it correct and what doesn't, and what to do to fix certain things and what's going to help them and what's not.
And then how to handle the horse, how to approach the horse, and how to work with the horse so you can get his foot right.
See, like, I don't consider myself a farrier at all. Hell, I take too long to shoe a horse. But like my brothers, they'll shoe circles around me.
And Trenton, he can sneak around them pretty good too. He's got that knack, he's got that way about him where he can get around a bad one when nobody else can.
I owe everything I know to my parents. They taught me everything that they knew, and that's what pushed me to branch off. I wasn't just being a punk and not wanting to do it with them. I was wanting to expand our knowledge and become better than what we have already, and that had pushed me to get a bigger education through different outfits, different trainers, different scenarios, and that's why I went to work for different people. I've worked for some of the best cow horse trainers in the country, and I've worked for some of the shadiest horse traders in the country, just to learn every aspect of the business that I can as well as I could, just so I could take what they've built and keep going and make it bigger and better.